On the disappearance days of the great acharyas, His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada used to chant one very beautiful song of Narottam Das Thakur. So you can look up on your devices, Jaya Nilo Premadana. We got a Mridanga, okay. Jaya Nilo Premadana Karuna Praju Heno Prabhu Kota Kela Acharya Thakur Heno Prabhu Kota Kela Acharya Thakur Kamura Swarup Rupa Kaha Sanatan Kaha Dasa Ragu Nata Patita Pavan Patita Pavan Kahamura Bata Juga Kaha Kavira Eka Kale Kota Kela Gora Natara Pashani Kutivo Mata Anare Pashivo Goranga Gunera Niri Kota Gile Pavo Se Sava Sangira Sangi Je Koilo Bila Se Sangana Paya Kande Narotamada Sangana Paya Kande Narotamada Jayanila Premadana Karuna Praju Heno Prabhu Kota Gela Acharya Thakur Heno Prabhu Kota Gela Rupa Goswami Heno Prabhu Kota Gela Gauridasa Pandita Jaya Vaishnava Thakur 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Hariva, 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 Gaur Hariva. Jai Gaur Hariva, 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 Gaur Hariva. Jai Go Premanande, Jai Nitalila Vishnu Mr. Pad, His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki, ISKCON Samstapakacharya, Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada Ki, Ananta Gauri Vaishnavrinda Ki, Sad Goswami Prabhu Ki, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki, Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar, Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki, Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopi Go, Shama Kun Radha Kun, Giri Govardhan Ki, Brajabhumi Vrindavan Dham Ki, Sri Sri Krishna Balaram Mandir Ki, Sri the Prabhupada Ki, Sri Rupa Goswami Ki, Sri Gauridasa Pandit Ki, Dai Go Premanandi. All glories to the Assembled Devotee. All glories to the Assembled Devotee. All glories to the Assembled Devotee. All glories, all glories, all glories, Sri Guru and Gauranga. Glories to you, Srila Prabhupada. Om Vishnu Gadai Krishna Pastai Vini. Sivedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati. So today is the holy disappearance day of not only Srila Rupa Goswami but also Srila Gauridasa Pandit. So, though I'm very fallen and lowly, I'll try to say something about these, in glorification of these great personalities. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshuru Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Sri Chaitanya Manubhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Sayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swavadandigam Adadanas Chanandandai Vridam Yache Puna Puna Srimad Rupa Padambujo Dilisyam Janmajanmani Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Panchakalpatrubhyascha Kripasindhubheva Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. So you may have noticed the second pranam mantra for Srila Rupa Goswami. Those who were fortunate enough to know Srila Prabhupada's Godbrother Kinshana Krishnadas, I never met him because he left before I came to Vrindavan. But he always used to sing this verse quite often. And one day at Terkadam, I noticed there's a little marble plaque over the shrine for Srila Rupa Goswami there. And this verse is written there. So I was able to finally learn this wonderful verse. Adadanas trinam dantai. Dant, almost like dental, means teeth. And trin, sometimes we translate trin as grass. Just like we know in Mahaprabhu's Sikshastakam, trin adapi sunicheta. There should be more humble than a blade of grass. But the grass is not really humble. It only does counterfeit humbleness. When you step on the blade of grass, he goes down. And as soon as you walk away, but trin actually means the straw on the street. He's doing his sastang pranam, dandavats. So, taking some straw between the teeth, this is a sign of humility. That adadadas trinandantai, between my teeth I'm taking some straw. Adadadas trinandantai. Idam yache puna puna. Yachna means to beg. And we know puna puna, again and again. I'm begging again and again. What am I begging? Srimad Rupa Padambujo. Pada we know by now means feet. And Ambu is another word for water. In Sanskrit, they have many words for water. Just like we know jal, the karana jal. And of course, the first word that our foreign devotees learn in Hindi, of course, is pani. So ambu means water. So ambuja, just like now coming up in a couple of weeks, is Janmashtami. So who's born in the water? What is that? The lotus. He's born in the ambuja. So Padambuja has lotus feet. But actually he's not begging for the lotus feet. He says Duli. Srimad Rupa Padambuja Duli. Duli means dust. Maybe you've heard this word before. Braja Duli. We're very anxious to get this dust of Braja Duli. Srimad Rupa Padambujo Duli Syam Janma Janmani. I just want that dust of the lotus feet of Srila Rupa. Just one speck of that dust in my life, birth after birth after birth. So this is a very beautiful pranam mantra for Srila Rupa Goswami. So Srila Rupa Goswami, he's a very, very special devotee, because Mahaprabhu twice, not just once in Chaitanya Charitamrita, twice, he mentioned something very special about Srila Rupa Goswami. As Rupa Goswami, one time he came to Puri from Bengal. Actually, he came first from Braj, then he stopped in Bengal, then he came to Puri. And he was meditating on writing a very large drama. So he did sort of an outline of that in Vrindavan, and he carried it with him. He wanted to make a big drama, all of Krishna's pastimes of Vrindavan and Mathura and Dwarka. On the way to Puri, just near Cuttack, there's a village called Satyabhamapur. I went there one time. Very beautiful, peaceful village. Sweet place. And Rupa Goswami passed the night there. In the night, a very divine, beautiful woman appeared. And she said to Srila Rupa Goswami that you make a separate drama for me. And then disappeared. In the morning when he woke up, Rupa Goswami meditated on this dream, and he understood that divine woman was none other than Satyabhama. And the purport was that don't put Krishna's Vrindavan pastimes and Dwarka Mathura pastimes in one drama. So he decided, all right, we'll make a second drama. Meanwhile, he saw the Gundicha Marjana pastime. And Rupa Goswami, he stayed with Haridas Thakur, excuse me. Because he had been, by the ordinary view, he was ousted from Hindu society, because he had accepted service under the Hindu king, Nawab Hussain Shah. What happened was, the Nawab, he wanted a watchtower, lookout tower built, very tall lookout tower. His kings are always very worried that somebody's attacking. And we know Bengal is a very flat place, so you can't see very far. But if you go up, you can see very far. So one of his ministers, he went to Rupa Goswami and asked him to build this tower. We went one time, this is in Gaud, that's why we're called Gaudiya Vaishnavas, that area of Bengal, it's called Gauda Desh. So, with Jayapataka's safari, they call it safari, but it's a safari. And that tower is still, after 500 years, it is still standing there. So, when he brought the Nawab to see the tower, he said, "Oh, it's very nice." He said, "Who made this?" "I made it." These kings, they're always very clever fellows. He said, "No, you're not smart enough to make something like this. Who did it?" So he said, "Well, actually, Rupa, his name at that time, I believe, was Santosh Datta." He says, "Bring him here. This guy is very clever. I want him in my service." So he was born in a very high-class Brahmin family, Saraswat Brahmin family from Karnataka. So he knew that becoming a servant of the Muslim king, he would be rejected from not only Brahmin society, Hindu society altogether. But the Nawab made him an offer that he couldn't refuse. It's either you become my prime minister or we'll do a little surgery above the shoulders. Made an offer he couldn't refuse. So, and then he wanted his brother Amar to be the financial controller, treasurer. So that Santosh, he gave them names, also Muslim names, Sakar Malik and Dabir Khas. So Sakar Malik, that was Sanatana Goswami. Rupa Goswami became the treasurer. So they were rejected from Brahmin and Hindu society. So he stayed with Haridas Thakur at Siddhabakul. He never entered Jagannath temple. Nobody, of course, would have ever stopped such a wonderful devotee, but just by not disturb the public, he never entered. So those of us who cannot enter Jagannath temple, don't feel bad. We're in good company. Haridas Thakur didn't enter, Rupa Goswami didn't enter, Sanatana Goswami didn't. We're in good company. And who knows, maybe one day we'll enter. Let's see what Jagannath's mercy is. So he stayed with Haridas at Siddhabakul. So then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, previously he told Haridas that very soon Rupa is coming. Rupa didn't send, there wasn't any WhatsApp those days, so nobody knew that he was coming. He just arrived and went there to stay with Haridas. And Mahaprabhu came there and he embraced Rupa Goswami. And they discussed some things, what was happening with Sanatana Goswami and all this. And then he looked at Rupa Goswami and he said, "Don't take Krishna out of Vrindavan." That Yadunandan Krishna in Mathura and Dwarka, he's not the same as our Gokul Krishna. So then Rupa Goswami, he got the confirmation from Mahaprabhu that he should divide his drama in two. One for Dwarka pastimes, Mathura pastimes, and one for Krishna's pastimes. Vidagdha Madhav is all about Krishna's pastimes. Lalita Madhav is all about Mathura and Dwarka pastimes. So then, a few days later, they saw, or next day actually, they saw the Rath Yatra festival. And during the Rath Yatra festival, Mahaprabhu was dancing in ecstasy in front of Jagannath's cart. And he was reciting many verses. Then he suddenly began to sing one very nice verse. And everybody, on hearing this verse, they said, why Mahaprabhu singing cinema songs? But a young boy and a young girl, why he singing cinema songs? But Srila Damodar, he immediately understood. And Rupa Goswami heard this song and he also spun it around his brain, then he understood. So that song was like this. Ye ko mara hara sa eva hibaras ta eva chaitra shapas te chon milita malati surabaya proda kadamba nila sa chaiva smita tapi tatra surato vyapara lila vido Reva rodasi vetasi tarutale cheta samutkandate. So we know Kumar means young boy. So this verse, it says that young boy who stole my heart and my youth, he's now standing before me. And it is the same, Chaitra Shapas. Shapas means the full moon of Chaitra. Chaitra is springtime. Of course, our springtime, people in other parts of the world think they're having a heat wave. But Chaitra means the springtime. It's the full moon of the springtime. And what is that? The Surabaya. Surab means fragrance. Fragrance of malati is in the air. And proda kadamba nila. Anil is another word for the air. We know nil, of course, means blue or blackish, very deep blue. So anila, the air has no color, so it's anil. And proda kada, there's so much fragrance of proda, means flooded with fragrance of kadamba. And I'm the same young girl, but I'm not happy in this place. I want to go to the bank of the Reva river. Vetasi Taru, I want to go to underneath that Vetasi tree. Sada samutkantate. It says, Vyapara lila vido. I'm just thinking of all the wonderful things we did together. So samutkant. Kant means the throat. Just like we have our kantimala. So utkant, when our enthusiasm bubbles up to the neck, utkant. Our anxiousness bubbles up to the neck, utkant. So I'm very anxious to go back to that place. So everybody, why is singing some song about a young girl pining for her old boyfriend, remembering all their pastimes together? Why Mahaprabhu singing cinema song? So then Rupa Goswami, he went back to Siddhabakul, and he didn't have a iPod, he had a leaf pod. On a palm leaf, he wrote a very beautiful verse explaining Mahaprabhu's song. And he was living in a little thatched kutir, so he stuck it in the thatch and went to take his bath in the sea. Meanwhile, Srila Damodar and Mahaprabhu, although Haridas didn't go to the temple, Rupa Goswami didn't go to the temple, the Lord in the form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to come to see them. So Mahaprabhu came there and he saw Rupa Goswami is not there, but something struck his eye. Because later Mahaprabhu will describe Rupa Goswami's handwriting, it's just like strings of pearls. If you go down to the Vrindavan Research Institute, you can see, or sometimes they tear kadam Baba has a little photocopy piece of that palm leaf. You can see the strings of pearl-like writing of Srila Rupa Goswami. So this beautiful writing caught his attention. And he read this verse. What is that? Priyaksoyam Krishna Sahachari Kurushetra Militas Tataham Saradha Taridam Ubayo Sangama Sukam Tatapyanta Kelan Madura Murali Panchamajuse Manome Kalindi Bipin Pulina Bipinaya Sprihayati. Sahachari means friends. Oh, my friends, I met my very dear Krishna. Priyaksayam Krishna Sahachari Kurukshetra and Kurukshetra. Oh, my dear, oh, my friends, I met my dear friend Krishna at Kurukshetra. Tataham Srila, I am the same Radha. He's the same Krishna. I'm feeling much happiness in our meeting. But my mind is always hankering. When can I go to the bank of the Kalindi and hear him Murali Panchamajuse playing his flute Panchamajuse on the fifth note. And we know in Indian music there's so many notes. Saragana pa. That's the fifth. When can I hear him playing on the fifth note? Manome, my mind, my heart. Sprihayati. Spriha means desire. I'm desiring to go to the Kalindi Pulina, the bank of the Kalindi. Bipinaya, in the forest. Bipin means forest. Mahaprabhu read this verse. He showed it to Sarup Damodar. So how has Rupa Goswami understood my mind? How has Rupa Goswami understood my mind? Just then Rupa Goswami appeared and offered the obeisance. The Mahaprabhu went and slapped him on the back. Slapped him on the back. And he looked at Srila Damodar, how this Rupa understood my mind. Because we sing every day, Sri Chaitanya Manubhistam. That he understood Manubhis, that dearmost desire in the heart. Man means the heart. Sri Chaitanya Manubhistam. He understood the dearmost desire within my heart, and he's established this Krishna conscious movement in this world. Stapitam, just like we say, Sanstapakacharya. He's established this Krishna conscious movement to bring everyone back to home, back to Godhead. And Sri Damodar says, it must be that you've given your mercy upon him, otherwise not possible for anyone to understand your heart. And Mahaprabhu, what does he say? He says, yes, I met this Rupa at Prayag, and seeing him a fit personality, I have bestowed my entire transcendental mercy on him. What did he say? I have bestowed my entire transcendental mercy upon him. First time he says this. Several days later, he came with many devotees, especially Ramananda Roy, because Ramananda Roy can relish ras. Because he heard that Rupa Goswami is writing this drama. And he heard some verses from his drama. So he brought Ramananda Roy to examine Rupa Goswami's writing. Because we know Mahaprabhu didn't accept anything except Ramananda Roy approved it. So they came there and Mahaprabhu said, you're writing this drama. Please say that verse, the hearing which all the devotees become joyful. Please say that verse. And Rupa Goswami put his head down. He said, no, go, tell it. Tunde thandavani vitanute. Tunde thandavani vitanute. Tundavadi labdaye. Karna kroda kadambani gatayate. Karna arbudeva spriham. Cheta prangana sangini vijayate sarvindriyanam kritim. No jane janita kiyadbhyarmitai. Krishneti varna dvai. Tunda means mouth. He says, and Tandav, we know like Lord Shiva at the end of the world, he does his Tandav dance. Tandav dances. When that holy name dances within my mouth, Tunda, Tundavali, then I want to have many, many mouths to taste that nectar. Karna, we know Karna means ear. Karna kroda kadambani gadayate karnarbudeva. Now we've heard of crore, but that means 10 million. But there's another measurement, 10 times that is Arab, billion. He says, and when it enters my karna, that hole in my ear, I want to have billions of ears. He says, I want many tongues. He says, Tandavali, many mouths, Tandavali. And he says, but billions of ears to catch that nectar. There's a secret meaning here. We should talk less and listen more. I want many, many tongues, but billions of ears. Cheta sangha, cheta pranga. Pranga means that courtyard. When that name dances in the courtyard of the heart, Sarvindriyanam kritim, all the senses become inert. Oh, when that day will come. Our senses always bothering us. Go here, go there, do this, do that. But when the name dances within the core and the heart, it conquers all the senses, they become inert. No jane janita, kiyadbir amritai, krishneti varna dvai. Varna also can mean syllable. I do not know how much nectar is in these two syllables. Krishna. I do not know. All the devotees were just struck with wonder when they heard this verse. And then he asks, how do you introduce the play? And he tells that verse. He asks him, the list of characters and so many things. How do you introduce the play? And what is the mantra for the Istadev, the worshipful Lord? Then Rupa Goswami put his head down. He says, no, Mahaprabhu says, what is the verse? What is the verse for the Istadev? Then he said, Anarpitam charim chara karuna avatirna kalo, samarpitum unata ujala rasam sabakti sriyam, haripurata sundar duti kadanda samdipita, sarahridaya kandare spuratu bhasachinandana. He says, Anarpitam, just like several times a day we do bhog arpan, we offer bhog, So, Anarpitam means the opposite. It wasn't given. Anarpitam chirim charat. Charat means for a very long time. Just like we all know, we've heard of Old Delhi, but there's another part of Delhi called Chirag Delhi, even older. So for a very long time it wasn't given. Anarpitam chirim charat. Karuna avatirna kalo. But in this Kali Yuga, there's a Karuna avatar. And now, Samarprayatum. Before Anarpa, now Samarprayatum. He's giving it fully. Samarprayat unata ujala rasam. Oh, this sounds so sweet. Unata ujala rasam. Fully developed. Sringar ras. Unata ujala rasam. Sabakti sriyam. The glory of his own prema bhakti, braja bhakti. This is not given before. For a long time. Haripurata. Purata is another name for golden color. Haripurata sundara duti kadamba sibidipita. He's glowing. Kadamba means, in Sanskrit, that not only means a flower or tree, but it means a huge quantity. It's like the kadamba flower, it's a whole quantity, a whole huge quantity of flowers in a ball. So a huge quantity of gold, purata. Huge quantity. Gold we see is so attractive. Huh? So we can just imagine, Mahaprabhu said that with his arms stretched, chanting, he was 7 feet tall. We can't imagine how much beautiful he must have been. Huh? Huh? Huge quantity of gold. Sada hridiya khandare. In English we say the core, but in Sanskrit we say the cave. Khandara. Khandara means cave. In the cave of the heart, the core of the heart. Hridiya khandare spuratuv. Be manifest. Ba Sachinanda, that son of Sachi Devi. Mahaprabhu heard this, he became angry. He said, why? What have you done? This was a whole bunch of nectar. Now you put some alkali. And Srila Damodar said, no, this is like camphor. All right, go on. And then they discussed so many verses and verses. That part of Chaitanya Charitamrita is so relishable to read. And finally, Srila Damodar exclaimed, this is not a drama, this is a constant stream of nectar. This is a constant stream of nectar. He said, nobody can write like this without your special mercy. And second time, Mahaprabhu says, yes, I met this Rupa at Prayag, and seeing him a fit personality, I've given him my higher transcendental potency to describe ras. So Rupa Goswami is our rasacharya. So not just once, but twice Mahaprabhu says this. He's given his higher transcendental potency to Rupa Goswami. Srila Rupa Goswami Pada Ki. Today is also the disappearance day of Srila Gauridasa Pandit. He's another very, very colorful character in our associates of Sriman Mahaprabhu. If you go to Navadvip station and take a train back towards Calcutta, just 2 stations. First one is, I think, Bagnipara, and then there's one other station, I can't remember, it's a famous another. Yeah. Then comes Kalna, Ambika Kalna. And you get down there and you take a little rickshaw for a couple of kilometers, and you come to the house of Gauridasa Pandit. He was living in place. There was a famous deity of Ambika there, Devi, called Kalna. So the place became known as Ambika Kalna. And he was a great devotee of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. In fact, it's described, and when you go there to the temple, you can see it. Mahaprabhu and Nityananda, they came to see Gauridasa Pandit one time. And they came by boat. And they were rowing themselves. So that oar with which Mahaprabhu himself was rowing, he gave it to Gauridasa Pandit. And said, now you take all the living entities, you row them across this ocean of material existence. So you can see that oar that Mahaprabhu rowed the boat with is still there. And a Bhagavad Gita that supposedly Mahaprabhu has written by his own hand, is there. So when Mahaprabhu wanted to take sannyas, then he knew this was going to break Gauridasa's heart, so he went to see him to try and calm him a bit. So Nitai and Gaur, they stayed with Gauridasa Pandit for a few days. Then he said, I have to go. He said, no, Prabhu. We're feeling so much ecstasy. You can't leave. No, you can't leave. He said, no, but we have to go propagate the Sankirtan movement. No, you please don't leave. I'll die if you leave. He was crying and crying. So then Mahaprabhu thought, all right. Then he told him, no, you just remember me. I'll always be. No, don't try to fool me like you sent Uddhava to fool the gopis. Don't give me this nonsense talk. You don't try to fool me. So then Mahaprabhu said, all right, the deity is not different from the Lord, myself. So they called it deity maker, and Gaur Nitai posed for this deity. This is the first deity of Gaur Nitai. It posed for this deity. And then Mahaprabhu told, so these deities will stay here, you can serve them to your heart's content, and you should know there's no difference between myself and the deities. And Gauridasa, he thought, Pandits, they're very clever. He said, so there's no difference between deity and you? He said, no. All right, you let the deities go propagate the Sankirtan movement, and you stay here. So Mahaprabhu said, all right. And Mahaprabhu and Nityananda, they became deities, and deities became Mahaprabhu and Nityananda. He said, no, wait. And then the deities became, then the Mahaprabhu and Nityananda, they became the deities, and the deities became Gaur Nitai, and they, no, don't. And then they, like this, they went back and forth, and finally Gaur went, all right. You go. So he worshipped these deities very lovingly. So much wonderful service he did to these deities. And Gauridasa Pandit, he was very poor. But he used to cook very, very opulent offerings. And within his mind, he would decorate the deities with valuable jewels and ornaments. And the Lord knew Gauridasa Pandit's heart. So one time, Gauridasa Pandit, he looked and he saw all the jewels that he was meditating on his mind. They were there decorating Gaur Nitai. Very valuable. He had no power to get valuable jewels. Like all these things were there. He was completely astonished. And Gauridasa Pandit, he's none other. He's one of our Gaudiya Acharyas who's not in Sringaras. He's in Sakyaras. Because he's actually Subal. So one time he looked on the altar, and Gaur Nitai, they had turbans and dressed in cloth like a cowherd boys, and they had buffalo horns and so many things, and flutes and so many things. They manifested as Krishna and Balaram, because we know Brijandanandana says Satsi Sutta Hoiluji. That Brijandanandan Shamsundar, he's none other than he's become Sachi Sutta. And Balaram, Hoilo Nitai. Nitai is Balaram. So they became Krishna and Balaram. And then Gauridasa, suddenly he also took his form as a cowherd boy. So many wonderful pastimes that happen like this. And so many wonderful pastimes are there like this. Another time, Gauridasa, he had a very wonderful disciple named Chaitanya Das. And Gauridasa wanted to go on pilgrimage, because all sadhus, they like to go here and there and visit holy places. So he put Chaitanya Das in charge. And Chaitanya Das was worshipping the deities very nicely. But he realized the appearance day of Lord Chaitanya is coming, Gaur Purnima. So he thought, let's make a big festival. So he sent out invitations, and he invited so many people, and made plans for a big festival. Meanwhile, that very day, his spiritual master, Gauridasa Pandit, appeared. And he heard about all the arrangements for a big festival. Acha, so in my absence, you become so independent, huh? You make big festivals without consulting me, anything. I just want to worship my deities very peacefully. No, you don't have festival here. You get out. So, Gauridasa went to the bank of the Ganga. Just then a very rich man came and offered him a donation. He said, no, you give it to my Guru Maharaj. So he went to Gauridasa Pandit. Gauridasa Pandit said, no, you give it to Chaitanya Das. He wants to do a festival. He needs some funds. So Chaitanya Das began to arrange a big festival on the bank of the Ganga. And everybody started to arrive, and they all went to the Ganga. They heard this big festival there, so they all went to the Ganga instead of to the temple. And big festival was going on. So much nice Nam Sankirtan was going on in this festival Gaur Nitai left the altar and they went to the bank of the Ganga and began to dance. Only those who were very fortunate could see them. Chaitanya Das, he could see them. And Gaur Nitai were dancing in ecstasy in the kirtan. Meanwhile, Gauridasa, he came to the temple to make it, he'd cooked a nice feast. And he opened the curtain, he entered. Gaur Nitai is not there on the altar. Can you imagine? You came to bring the offering, you come out of the kitchen door and you come into the altar and Radhesham is not there. Krishna Balaram are not there. How you'll be shocked. Then from a distance he saw them on the bank of the Ganga dancing with his disciple and all the devotees. So he grabbed a stick and he came in a very angry, what these rascals are doing? Why are they leaving like this? And he came to chastise them and get back on the altar. And Gaur Nitai, they were dancing in ecstasy, but they saw Gauridasa Pandit coming in a very angry mood. So they hid themselves within the heart of Chaitanya Das. And Gauridasa Pandit, he was able to see all this. That Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda were hiding in the heart of his disciple. So he threw that stick, he immediately came and he embraced Chaitanya Das and says, you're so fortunate. Gaur Nitai have hidden within your heart. So from now on you'll be known as Hridaya Chaitanya. So he became Hridaya Chaitanya. And Gauridasa, even in his old age, he used to make very, very elaborate offerings. So it was very difficult. His old, now we're getting there. We preached about birth, death, disease, and old age all our life. Now we're getting the Sakshat Darshan. It's no fun. So, the deities told him that, look, you just make something simple, we'll be happy, don't trouble yourself. Well, if you don't eat what I'm cooking, then I'm not going to cook. He said, no, it's not like that, it's not like that. Anyway, they finally made a deal that they would eat and he would cook simple the next day. It's like this, there's so many wonderful pastimes of Gauridasa. Oh, and one thing, because Gaur Nitai jumped off the altar, when you go there to Ambika Kalna, to Gauridasa Pandit's temple, you'll see that the darshan is almost like Banki Bihari. The pujari opens the curtain and then closes it, and then because they're afraid they'll jump off the altar again. So we went there, last time I was in Mayapur, we took a cab and we went there. Somehow or other, by Lord Chaitanya's mercy, we arrived at Artik, at the time of Artik. And they opened the curtain, and for the whole 10-12 minutes of Artik, the curtain was open. We got darshan of these deities that were, Gaur Nitai posed for these deities, the carver was seeing, So the whole time, 10-12 minutes, we got darshan without the curtain closing. Very difficult to get pictures, but somehow or other, over the years, we've managed to get pictures of those wonderful deities, so beautiful. So in this very auspicious day, Srila Rupa Goswami left this world, entered into the eternal pastimes of Radha and Krishna, and on this day also, Gauridasa Pandit also entered back into the cowherd pastimes of Krishna and Balaram in the spiritual world. So if anybody has any comments or questions, so many things that we can say, we don't have any control over the time, he's running on. Yeah.
Goswamis wrote different trees every night. They wrote so many literatures. Where do they keep all these manuscripts? And how did all that work out?
Well, later we see, because Rupa Goswami was staying at Tirkadamba for quite some time, this was in the beginning just to show people renunciation. And because they had been ordered by Mahaprabhu to discover all the pastime places. So externally they were showing renunciation. Just like we come to Vrindavan, you know, I get so many emails like, please find a place for me to stay. We're very worried. It has to have an attached bath, has to have an AC, But they just stayed under a tree one night and stayed under another tree. We tell you, come to Vrindavan, we'll let you sleep under one tree one night, another tree. No, I want a nice attached bath and AC and hot water. So in the beginning, just to teach real renunciation. It's like today in the Prabhupada quote, it's not that you just come to Vrindavan and put on a kopin and kantimala and you become Rupa Goswami. And you eat roti. Tyaktva turnamasesha mandalapati. They gave everything tucha. Tucha means, you know. We're thinking, I have to have the latest, watch and the latest iPhone and, all this is tucha. We don't care for all this. That's Vrindavan Vas. Not that I come here, bake some roti and go to my kutir and chant the Zed mantra. You know the Zed mantra? So you don't become Rupa Goswami by coming here baking some rotis and sleeping and putting some simple cloth. So first they showed real renunciation, but we find many places where they had their bhajan places. If you go to Terkadam and you tell someone this is Rupa Goswami's bhajan kutir, then Terkadam Baba will become furious. No kutir, under the trees. Not like you with nice apartment and AC. This bhajan place. Terkadam Baba will get very angry. Never say bhajan kuti or bhajan place. Now they have a nice shrine there to commemorate where Rupa Goswami was sitting. And he was writing, it's described that when Rupa Goswami, just imagine how powerful a Vaishnava he was. By his writing, when he would write about the separation of Radha and Krishna, all the leaves on the Kadamba tree would fall down like tears. And when he would again write about the union of Radha and Krishna, no matter what the season was, fresh little leaves would come and little buds would come and they would blossom, no matter what the season. Just like now the season, Kadamba season just finished for Keli Kadam or Vrindavan Kadam, just finished. June, July, sometimes a little bit of August. But no matter what the season, fresh Kadamba blooms would bloom on that tree. Just see, we know trees, they're very dull-witted, dull consciousness. But even they were affected by the mood of Srila Rupa Goswami, such a powerful Vaishnava. And although there's no historical proof, but just there's a hint. Many Vaishnavas and many Acharyas have described that this Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which is the basis, this is the law book of our Krishna consciousness. This was at least finished at Terkadam. Because in that Rupa Goswami says that on the such and such day, such and such half of such and such day of such and such month, or such and such, such and such half of such and such month and such and such day in the year, I think 1436 or something like that, I am sitting under a Kadamba tree finishing this Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So he gives a little hint that possibly this nectar devotion was finished at Terkadam. There are many other literatures written there. So Where they kept it all, I don't know. Wrapped up in cloth, usually. But somehow, Jiva Goswami sent them the second generation, Narottam, Srinivas, and Shamananda, on traveling Sankirtan with all the literature. Same thing that we do. Jiva Goswami went to Mathura, he told some merchants there, I want a special Sankirtan van, a bullock cart. Didn't have vans those times. To carry books to Bengal. So they made a special Sankirtan van, they put all the books, and they went to Bengal with all the books. This is the first traveling Sankirtan party. So we're following in the footsteps of the Goswamis. We make our special vans for a place to store all the books and a place for us to sleep sometimes and go traveling, distributing, following in the Goswamis. This is following that, not putting on some cloth and begging some rotis and sleeping. Any other question? Yes, in the back. Bhakta Mike.
Hare Krishna, something about his deities, Rupa Goswami's deities, Radha Govind Dev, how he started worshipping.
Well, that was another thing that Mahaprabhu sent them to Vrindavan to find out those original deities. Because originally there was Madan Mohan, Gopinath and Govindadev. So one time Rupa Goswami was bathing in the Jamuna and a little cowherd boy came and said, Baba, Baba, Goma Tila, Tila means hill. Of course here we don't see big hills, just like Puri is also called Nilachal. Achal means mountain, but it's only about 13 feet above sea level. So it's a little bit of a high place called Gomatila. He said the cow comes there and pours milk into the hole in the ground every day. Rupa Goswami, yes? So Rupa Goswami went there to Gomatila and he saw, sure enough, this cow came and automatically milk began to flow from her udder to a hole in the ground. Then he called all the villagers and they dug out this beautiful deity of Govindadev. And later Raghunath Bhatt, his disciple, was the king of Jaipur, so he had him build Mansingh. He built this beautiful, was it Mansingh or Bhagwan Singh? Mansingh. This beautiful temple. And we find, of course, the Samadhi and Bhajan Kutir of Rupa Goswami is at Radha Damodar. Someone may ask, well, why not at his temple was Govindadev? But at that time construction was going on, so he used to stay with his disciple Jiva Goswami at Radha Damodar. So his Samadhi and his Bhajan Kutir is there. And many, many years ago I went there, before they had so many locks and things. And you can see there's some japa beads there in some cloth. You can see that there's some wooden beads in the cloth. And that time they actually had a pujari there. So pujari told me that just some time before, some young fellow came. And that time nobody was there guarding, there was no locks, no nothing. And he's looking and he saw those japa. Those are Rupa Goswami's japa beads. Wow, to chant japa on Rupa Goswami's japa beads. He took them and he went back to Bengal. When he got back to Bengal, Rupa Goswami came in his dream. He said, Baba, I'm fasting. I said, Lala, he was a boy. He said, Lala, I'm fasting for so many days. I haven't been able to chant my rounds. How can I eat? So he immediately took the next train back to Vrindavan and put those japa beads there. So those are Rupa Goswami's japa beads there. Yes? Gopal?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, my obeisances unto you.
Hare Krishna.
Sometimes we find that there are contradictory statements of the same fact or the idea in different books of the same sampradaya. So how should we take them? For example, it has been mentioned in the classes, okay, that Rukmani was never angry when Parijata tree was given to Satyabhama. But in Nectar of Devotion, it is written that there was anger in her mind in concealment. So how should we take them?
Well, outwardly she didn't display anger, it was inside. But anyway, just like a diamond is one thing, but it sparkles from, sometimes blue and gold and yellow and so many things. So depending on where you're seeing it from, you see something a little different. This is just relishing. There's no contradiction between Vaishnavas, it's just they're relishing the different rasas of Krishna consciousness.
Again, it is said that Yadu Nandan never leaves Vrindavan.
Who?
Nandan.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for that.
Yeah.
Nandan never leaves Vrindavan.
Yeah, that was right.
And Yadu Nandan went to Mathura. All right. Then there comes two lines. There come two lines where it is said that Krishna never showed his four-armed form in Vrindavan. But in the classes I have heard that Krishna showed his four-armed form to the gopis during the Rasa dance.
That wasn't permanent, that was during the Vasant Ras in Govardhan. There's a village there called Chandra Sarovar. Beyond Chandra Sarovar, Peta.
So,
and there, that was just a pastime. Krishna manifested four arms and the gopis came. He said, Pranam Lord Vishnu. Did you see the son of Nanda Maharaj come this way? And with his forearms said, yes, he went that way.
So, Prabhuji, the problem is that I'm a neophyte.
But when Radharani came, then he could no longer maintain those two extra arms.
Prabhuji, the problem is that I'm a neophyte. No, I'm not even a neophyte, a seedling. So how can I take them up? I'm not even a neophyte. I'm just a seedling. Okay, so how should I take these contradictory ideas and statements?
Just relishing different things, that's all.
So clever of you,
Prabhupada said
Prabhuji.
we should discuss different points of view. So,
thank you, Prabhuji.
So there's no other questions. We'll fall down to the very soft and wonderful lotus feet of that great personality who's introduced us to all these great personalities. Srila Prabhupada ki.